Alright, so over the last few days I've been truly head down writing the Christmas message. It's proving to be a lot of fun to write this year. I'm really enjoying it. I do enjoy watching writing it every year, but this year it's proving to be a lot of fun. I do this as a bit of an outlet to I don't know, just my frustrations with the world and my place in it and what I see and just how frustrating it gets. I try to do it in a humorous way, but there's always an underlining message to each one that I write each year. So I'm hopeful that it'll be done in time, no problem. I'm hopeful of an early release. One of my friends suggested to me I should try and release it a little bit early so it stays more relevant, get more people to read it. So I may do that. I'm looking at releasing this at December 18. So my other ones are up. I've done 3 now. This is my 4th. First one I can't find, which is good because I don't really like it. But Waning Crescent's there, and so is Red Spoils in the Moonlight. So I'd love it if you could check those out. It's on my channel. Right. So as a result of that, as a result of me doing my Christmas message, my brain certainly for this month of the year that I do this. My brain certainly does turn into quite the fertile playground. I've got ideas coming left, right, and centre at the moment. One of those ideas was to come out here to the beach to do this with the nice blue flat water in the background. But as you can see, yeah, I'm not going to do that because it's raining out there. I guess I could, but then I'd get wet, and I don't want to get wet. So sort of the purpose of today's video is, yeah, it's about the globe again. I guess it's more about the build up to where we are, how we've got here, why we're here, and how it's going to pan out next. So I'm the type of guy who, since the globe was probably the first one for me that fell, because we are being messed with by the powers that be. There's just endless lies going on. You can see it all over the world. I watch the news now and I just see straight through it. You see all these events in America and it's just, we're being messed with big time. And the globe's one of them. And the globe was the one that fell for me first, when I started waking up. And I'm sort of down, as a result of that, I'm down with the whole, I believe the world certainly is a stage. I think history has been staged. When I found out World War II was staged, that was real. And I just believe everything has been staged. Now, in saying that, I think a curious things happen with the globe and technology. So I believe that the internet was available to them for a lot longer than if they give it to us, they've had it for a lot longer, put it that way. It could explain. I think they've had it all along, and that would explain how they build the pyramids and a lot of the mysteries of the world. If technology was always available to them, it's probably available to us all, and that's part of the reason why all this deception's real. Free energy and all that sort of stuff. So I'm down with it. I'm down with it being a stage. I absolutely believe that. So, from their point of view, they just suddenly released the internet to us in the mid-90s, and there it is, and here it is, and all of its glory, all of its negativity, I guess. But from their point of view, I find it curious, because the way I found the Earth wasn't a globe and more than likely flat is through the internet. I was told by a guy, like one guy I know, he told me that he just thinks it's bullshit. And but from there I researched it on my own, and basically I did that entirely on the internet. You go out, well, yeah, I won't go there. I mean, you go out and you do your own experiments and stuff, but basically you get the idea and stuff from the internet. You've got 2 things: you've got the internet and your senses that you trust. So they released that in the mid-90s, and now we've come 20-25 years later, and we're basically, society finds itself where a small part of us believe the Earth's not a globe. There's another small part who like to ridicule us for that, and then the vast majority of people just don't give a shit. They don't care about the shape of the Earth because they just don't. They're just. I don't know. They're swept up and they're busy with their Earth lives. I mean, I used to be there and I used to not care, and I can fully understand where they're coming from. But the powers that be, the people controlling everything, they absolutely they rely on this. They rely on people just being flippant about it and not caring. So, what's next? So, the globe, thanks to the internet, is crumbling by the day. It's crumbling by the day, and you see, like this example I've got that nobody seems to be able to answer, and I'm suspecting it can't be answered because none of the models work here in Australia. During the summer solstice, even if it's just for one day, but it does go on for a couple of months, the sun rises south of east and it sets down there way in the southwest. Now, the sun at its most southern journey is on the Tropic of Capricorn, which goes through Queensland, the Northern Territory, and Western Australia. I think it goes through Western Australia, but it's north of here, so the sun should be in the northern sky all the time. You look at it on the globe, which I just cross-reference it because I know it's not right, but I cross-reference it anyway. And the Gleason's map and the AE map, it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work here in Australia, guys, it doesn't matter how much you fight up there in the north. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't work here, it doesn't work anywhere. It doesn't explain the flat Earth map. It doesn't explain the longer days we get here. It doesn't explain during summer. It doesn't explain much. Now, flat Earth, it has definitely become a psyop. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody within flat Earth are part of that psyop. There's a lot of channels on YouTube that are flat earthers that I respect. Dan the Man Pratt's probably the one that comes to mind firstly, and then you got Russian Vids, who I really trust. The information he puts out is sensational, and UAP, again, sensational. He just does it, the way that guy presents is brilliant. Close to my favourite channel on YouTube at the moment, UAP. So that doesn't mean that everyone's part of it if you think you're a flat earther, but you look at the so if you're part of the psyop and you are indeed one of these shills, that means you're employed by them. So being employed by them, that means those people are the information they're feeding and the information that the power the be want us to have. Okay, so you look at I'm always wary of the big channels, those with a couple of hundred subscribers. So you look at the King of Flat Earth, Eric Dubay. I've learned a lot from him, but I think he's sus. The more I see of him with his yoga and his Buddhism, and it's all Antichrist, the more sus I become. So he's pushing that model, and that seems to be his main focus, is pushing that model, and his Buddhism or whatever religion he does, and his yoga. They seem to be his priorities. So I know two of them are not of the Bible, and the third one, well, you go, well, it's us too, because I know it doesn't work. So they're psyoping it. Why are they psyoping it? Because they know we're onto something, and they want to control the information that we receive. So we're on it. We're on it. But we're off beam. We're absolutely off beam with the model that we're looking at now. It's a waste of time. Come here at Australia in summer, guys, and look at it all. It doesn't work. It just doesn't fit at all. So from here, I'm curious as to how they'll control this. So you look at the moon landing, and the moon landing, I think it's different because they've covered that up over the decades, 50 years, just by lying and relying on the masses being flippant to it. And it was just a once-off thing that happened 50 years ago that doesn't really impact our lives. In fact, nobody really gives it a second thought. But the shape of the Earth, it's something that it's there every day. It's a battle that rages on. The flat earthers bring hard evidence. They bring hard testimony. And it's just proving to be right each time, and the globe just keeps dying. So going forward, it does make me wonder what's going to happen, because it can't go on like this. There's got to be a tipping point. There has to be just this mass awakening of people. They go, whoa, okay, what's going on here? And once you learn the Earth's not a globe and they're lying to you, like for me it was flat Earth, and it could be for other people, it could be different things. They could learn the truth about 9/11. They could learn truth about World War II. I mean, they could learn truth about anything. But for me, I think flat earth is the one that truly brings you to Christ. It's what brought me to Christ was the flat earth, and I hear testimony of others to say the same thing, that flat earth did bring them to Christ. So at the end of the day, if that is happening, that's good. For me, that's the reason for the deception. They've had the internet all this time, they've had everything all this time, they've had free energy. There's a massive thing going on with water we're missing. Water's in the Bible everywhere, and I believe water potentially is our connection to Christ. I don't know our physical connection. He certainly lives within us, but is that the physical connection to Christ? Water, there's something major going on with water, and this is the reason for the deception. This is the reason why they push the globe. It's to keep us from our God. It's to keep us from our Creator and having a relationship with Him. So flat Earth, it's psyop the hell out of now. Like they've just that flat Earth conference thing they have. I mean, why would you go to a conference to talk about the Earth being flat? It's just ridiculous. Like talk about it with other people and stuff. It's like why? Like, and then they have that Hollywood buffoon, that young fella with the blonde hair who can't wait to get his kid off. You know, and he's running around and he's trying not to smile and laugh as he talks about it. So he's obviously controlled opposition. The whole thing is. You look at most of these big channels on YouTube, they're all controlled opposition. So there's massive time and effort going into it at the moment, covering it all up. I'll be fascinated to see how this all pans out over the next sort of, in particular, 5 years. Things can't keep going on the way they are. There has to be a tipping point. At some point, people have got to wake up to this, and people in their lives are just like, you can't lie, don't lie to me, don't do this to me, don't do that, but yet they live in a world full of lies. And there has to be that moment where there's a mass awakening. It can't not happen. I don't know, I've woken up to it, so why can't others, you know? And I'm just a regular knockabout bloke from the Central Coast, you know. I've woken up to all this, that Christ is real, that it's all real. Is this the tipping point? Will this be it? You know, will this be the great rapture? I don't know, but we're close. We're close to something. I feel it, and I'll just be watching all this with fascination over the next few years.